Hello, hello, and welcome to my thoughts for this Tuesday, this nice, bright, sunny Tuesday. And I read a story that I want to share. It's about an old man was sitting on a bench and he was weeping. He was weeping. And a little 4 year old ran up and sat beside him and held his hand. And then when he left the old man, his mother said, "What did you say to him?" He said, "I didn't say anything. I was just helping him cry." And that made me think about compassion. I've talked a lot about compassion and the fact that now that we think that everybody is a potential killer, and we walk down the street, and the minute we see another human being, we go as far away from him as we possibly can. I think that we're losing our ability to be compassionate. And I think that's a shame. I met a young lady, an absolutely wonderful young lady who lives in Bristol. And she said to me, we were talking about her boyfriend who was not very good looking, and that's why I don't want to say her name. He was not very good looking. And she said, kindness goes a long way. Kindness. And I often wonder uh, if we can if we can keep being kind during this lockdown. And I'm reminded of I've had many wonderful kind things happen to me, uh, but one of the most memorable is when you're Irish, St. Patrick's Day is a big deal. It's a big deal. And when I was in Brookline, Massachusetts, this was in 1957. I was teaching in a slum school. I was teaching in a slum school, and my students were extremely poor. And, and one of them that I liked very much was a little boy named Kevin. And he would always stay home on Fridays because his mother would send me a note and say I have to wash Kevin's jeans. Why she couldn't wash them on Saturday or something, I don't know. And every day before school, Kevin's mother, would give him money, and he would go to the store and buy her coffee and a donut. He'd bring that back, and then he would come to school usually a little late. And I understood what he was doing, and I never said anything. And I always wondered if that woman realized that she could save a hell of a lot of money by making her own coffee, and what did she need a donut for? However, on St. Patrick's Day, Kevin came to my classroom and he gave me a little gift. And it was a green hanky. It was a white hanky with a green ribbon, and it said Happy St. Patrick's Day. And I thanked him, and I thought that was the most beautiful thing because this is a 6 year old child. And I thought that was amazing, especially since I knew how impoverished his family was. And the next day, Kevin came to school and he had a black eye and he had a cut on his cheek. And I said, "How did that happen? Did you trip?" And he said, "No, mother did it." And now I will explain to you what happened. This little boy was absolutely determined to remember me on St. Patrick's Day because it was a big deal for him. So when his mother gave him money for coffee and a donut, instead of spending it on that, he went to the little variety store next to the coffee shop and he bought me a hanky. And it was not only an act of kindness, it was an act of sacrifice. I think that's absolutely gorgeous, but I wonder in this day and age if our children understand about that kind of compassion. If we are bringing up children, or if any of us, when we saw somebody cry, would go over and help them cry and take their hand. I hope, I hope we still could do that. And thank you very much for joining me for the thoughts.